Hey guys, Darren here with another fly tying tutorial. Today we're going to be tying up the Flatulent Caddis. This is based on Hans Weilenmann's CDC and Elk. I changed this up just a little bit from the original by adding a couple extra elements. The original is an ultra simple fly with just two materials, CDC and deer hair, despite the name. I'm actually using elk hair on this one, and I'll get into my selection of hair as we tie the pattern. Alright, let's get started. Alright, let's get started. We're going to put a fresh hook in the vise. I'm using a standard dry fly. This is a Mustad 94840, and this is a size 12. So the thread I'm using is a Danville Flymaster. This is a 6/0 waxed, and the color is dark olive. So just start by tying our thread on here. I'm going to take that down to the bend of the hook. I'm going to use a little bit of ice dub in UV Pro. Just want a couple strands. That's too much, probably. It's plenty there. Just to sort of act as a bit of an attractant and give the impression of trapped gases or escaping gases. Hence the name, the Flatulent Caddis. So if that's a little bit long, you can just kind of pinch with your thumb, pull off a little bit of the extra. Next we're going to tie in about 3 or 4 strands of pearl Flashabou. We're just going to wrap those down up to the eye and back. Just want to make sure that you keep these somewhat separated because we'll need to wrap those in a minute. For our next material, I like to use 2 CDC feathers. So for this one we're using a cinnamon CDC, and I use olives and natural colors for the most part. And so what you can do is you can just line up the tips and pull those forward, and then we're going to tie those down. Make sure you get a couple wraps underneath as well, just to make sure that it's locked in place. I'm going to wrap that to the front of the hook. Now we'll take our pearl Flashabou here, and we're just going to wrap that up the body. This kind of gives a little bit of shine underneath the CDC, as the CDC doesn't completely cover the hook shank. And we're going to brush out the CDC just a little bit to help expose this underbody a tad as well. Okay, just wrap that on and tie it off at the head. Cut off the excess. And you can wrap these feathers together if you like, or you can do them one at a time. So if you wrap them together, just make sure that the stems stay together as you wrap. If you get hackle pliers, makes this a little bit easier. You can see as it goes on, just trying to keep the stems facing back, and you can kind of see how it's creating the look of a dubbed body. And then when you get to these trailing fibers, those are going to lay back over the body, and they have a nice appearance, look like legs or part of a shuck, perhaps. We'll catch that off at the eye. Couple wraps, trim off the excess here. Just a couple wraps to clean that up. And now I'm going to take a brush and just give this a couple light brushes. So as you use this fly and it gets beaten up a little bit, you'll see the pearlescent Flashabou come out from underneath there. You can see it a little bit on this fly, but it hasn't been used at all, so it's pretty fresh. Next I'm going to take some bleached elk. I tie this with both bleached and natural elk. You don't need a ton, but I prefer the elk over deer hair. And part of the reason I use the bleached is just so that I can see this in the stream really easily. So we're just going to stack that hair. We've taken the under fur and the fluff out. And we're just going to grasp that by the tips. I'm just going to measure that so that it's about the same length as the hook. Trim off the tips. I'm going to lay that on top. I'm going to take a couple loose wraps, and then on our third wrap we're going to pull up and straight down, straight up, straight down. I'm going to pull just so that I can get a couple wraps through the middle of the head, and then put a wrap or two right on the bottom. And then I also like to just go back up again. Make sure that I got that. Alright, we'll add a whip finish. It's a nice simple fly, tied in a variety of colors, both with the natural colored elk and the bleached elk. So depending on the light conditions, you might want to use the light colored. I tend to fish a lot of dark waters, and this lets me see the fly fairly easily. Other times when I'm fishing lighter colored waters, clear waters, the black or the natural gray works really well. I also use olive, yellows, pinks, and natural gray, as well as this cinnamon color for the CDC. Hope you enjoyed that pattern. And if you have any comments, please leave them below, and I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for watching.